Straight cousin was in bed with his big tool showing when I walked in by surprise. I didn't mean to see it. I had just arrived, tossing my bag onto the floor, heading straight to his room like I always did. No knocking, no second thoughts. And then I froze. He was there, lying in bed, shirtless, his body stretched across the sheets. His sweatpants were low, too low. And what I saw, I couldn't unsee. His eyes blinked open, locking onto mine. Bro, what the hell? I couldn't move. I couldn't think. And then, he smirked. What happens next? Like and subscribe now. What would you do in this situation? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I should have knocked. God, I should have knocked. But I didn't. I was excited to be here, spending the summer at his place, just like we did when we were kids. It had been years since we'd had this kind of time together. I wasn't thinking. I wasn't expecting this. I swung the door open without hesitation. And then, I stopped breathing. He was lying there, shirtless, one arm lazily behind his head, his body stretched out like he didn't have a care in the world. His chest, toned and firm, rose and fell with steady breaths. But it wasn't just that. His sweatpants, they were too low. Way too low. And worse, the fabric did absolutely nothing to hide what was underneath. My throat went dry. My stomach dropped. I should have turned away immediately. I should have closed the damn door. But for a second, just a second, I couldn't move. Then his eyes opened, heavy-lidded, groggy from sleep, confused, and then, just as quickly, aware. A slow smirk curled at the corner of his lips. Bro, what the hell? His voice was deep, rough from sleep. I forced myself to look away, my pulse slamming in my ears. Damn, sorry, I stammered, stepping back, gripping the door handle like it was the only thing keeping me upright. He didn't move. He didn't pull the blanket over himself. He didn't even try to fix the situation. Instead, he stretched, arms flexing, abs tightening, the waistband of his sweatpants slipping even lower. I turned away so fast I nearly tripped over my own feet. Dude, he chuckled, voice thick with amusement. You look like you saw a ghost. I scoffed, desperately trying to ignore the heat creeping up my neck. Shut up. He laughed, deep and smooth. Relax, man. Not like you haven't seen one before. Not like this. I needed to get out of here. I practically sprinted back to the guest room, slamming the door behind me. My heart was still racing, my hands shaking as I ran them through my hair. What the hell was that? It was just my cousin. Just him being a dumbass. He was straight, always had been. This was nothing. Right? Then why couldn't I stop thinking about it? Why was his smirk still burned into my brain? And why the hell did I kind of want to see it again? I paced back and forth in the guest room, trying to calm my pulse. This was stupid. So stupid. It was just a moment, an accident. I walked in at the wrong time, that's all, but my mind wouldn't let it go. The way he stretched, completely unbothered. The way his smirk had lingered just a little too long. And the worst part? The way my stomach had tightened in response. I ran a hand down my face. This summer was already a disaster. A knock at my door made me jump. I hesitated, staring at it like it was a trap. Then, his voice. You good in there, bro? Shit. I took a breath. Steady. Normal. Yeah, just unpacking. A pause. Then a chuckle. Damn. Didn't know I traumatized you. I swallowed hard. Shut up. Another chuckle. Hey, I was gonna order food. You still like burgers, right? My stomach twisted, like nothing happened, like he hadn't just caught me staring. I forced a laugh. Yeah, whatever works. Cool, he said. A beat. Then his voice dropped slightly. And next time, maybe knock first. My grip tightened around my phone. I knew he was teasing, but something about the way he said it, low, almost amused, made my skin prickle. I waited until his footsteps faded before exhaling sharply. I needed to chill. This meant nothing, but the problem was, I wasn't sure if I believed that anymore. Dinner was normal. At least it was supposed to be. We sat on the couch, burgers in hand, a random game playing on the TV, just like old times. But my mind wouldn't shut up. Every time he leaned back, stretching his arms behind his head, my eyes flickered to his toned arms. Every time he shifted, his knee barely brushing mine, I felt a heat curl in my stomach. I hated it. And worse, I think he knew. Because when I finally dared to glance at him, I found him watching me. Not in a weird way, not like he was judging, just watching. I swallowed. What? He smirked, taking a bite of his burger. Nothing. Bullshit. But I wasn't about to push it. We finished eating, cleaned up, and for the first time all night, I thought I was in the clear. Until I walked past his room. His door was slightly open. I didn't mean to look. I didn't. But I did. And what I saw made my breath hitch. He was standing by his dresser, back to me. Shirtless again, gray sweatpants hanging low. I should have kept walking. I should have ignored it. But then, he stretched. And this time, he glanced over his shoulder, like he was waiting to see if I was still looking. I turned away so fast I nearly tripped over my own feet, heart racing, mind spinning, and the only thought repeating in my head was, what the hell is happening? I barely slept that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw him. The way he stretched, the way his eyes flickered toward me in the doorway, like he wanted me to look. I turned over in bed, gripping the sheets, trying to force my mind somewhere else. This wasn't happening. It was just my imagination, right? The morning came too fast. Sunlight streamed through the blinds, and I knew I had to face him again. Act normal. Pretend nothing happened. I pulled on a t-shirt, ran a hand through my messy hair, and stepped into the hallway. And then, I almost collided right into him. Whoa, he said, his hands going up instinctively. His bare chest was the first thing I saw. The second, the low-hanging gray sweatpants he was still wearing. My stomach twisted. Dude, put on a shirt. He smirked, leaning against the door frame like he didn't have a care in the world. Why? You embarrassed or something? I rolled my eyes, pushing past him toward the kitchen. I wasn't about to play this game, but as I reached for the coffee pot, I felt him behind me, too close. His voice was low. Relax, bro. I'm just messing with you. I exhaled, gripping the counter. Was he, though? I turned to face him, trying to keep my expression unreadable. So what's the plan today? He stretched his arms above his head, muscles flexing. Dunno, maybe hit the gym. You down? Gym. Locker rooms. Showers. I swallowed hard. Yeah, sure. The gym was worse than I expected. Every time I glanced his way, he was either lifting heavy, arms flexing, or standing at the squat rack, sweat running down his chest. And then, the showers. I told myself I'd go in after him. Give it a few minutes, avoid the risk. But as I stood near the lockers, tying my shoes, he came out, only in a towel. I froze. He was dripping wet. His hair a mess, water rolling down his chest, his abs. He smirked. You good, man? I swallowed, forcing my eyes anywhere but him. Yeah, Fine. But when I looked up again, he was still watching me. The air between us was thick, unspoken, charged, and for the first time, I wasn't sure where this was going anymore. I needed to get out of there, fast. I grabbed my gym bag, muttering something about needing a shower, and hurried toward the bathroom before I completely lost it. I could still feel his eyes on me. The door clicked shut behind me, but I didn't relax, not even close. I turned on the water, letting the steam fill the small space, but my heart was still pounding. My skin felt too hot, my mind racing with things I shouldn't be thinking. What the hell was happening? This was my cousin. My straight cousin. The same guy I grew up with, played video games with, fought over dumb stuff with. But ever since I walked in on him that first night, everything felt different. The way he looked at me, the way he smirked like he was teasing me on purpose. And now, that damn towel. I ran a hand through my hair, letting out a sharp breath. I needed to chill. I stepped under the hot spray, trying to clear my head. Then, the door opened. I froze. Through the steam, I saw him, still in the towel, still dripping wet, still watching me. A slow smirk curled on his lips. "Relax, man. It's just a shower." My stomach dropped. The second the door opened, I stopped breathing. He stood there, still wrapped in the towel, still dripping wet, still watching me. The steam swirled around us, the only sound being the steady rush of water hitting the tiles. My mind screamed at me to say something, anything, but I couldn't. I was frozen, pulse hammering, every nerve in my body on fire. He leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed like he had all the time in the world. "Damn, bro, you look tense." I swallowed hard. "Dude, what are you doing?" My voice came out uneven, not nearly as sharp as I wanted it to be. He shrugged, stepping inside, completely unbothered. "Chill, man. I just needed to grab something." His eyes flickered, not at my face, lower. I forced myself to turn back toward the water, trying to act like this wasn't completely messing with my head. But then, he moved closer. Not much, just enough. Enough that I could feel his presence behind me, enough that my skin prickled with awareness. I needed to get out of here. Fast. I shut off the water and reached for my towel, but his voice stopped me cold. "What's your deal, man?" I stiffened. "What?" "You've been acting weird ever since you got here," he said, his tone casual but his eyes sharp. "Like you can't even look at me." My stomach tightened. I forced a laugh. "I don't know what you're talking about." His smirk deepened. "Bullshit." I turned, towel wrapped around my waist, only to find him way closer than before. His gaze locked onto mine, unreadable, too intense, too knowing. And then he tilted his head, like he was figuring something out, like he already had. The air between us felt thick, charged. "Bro," he murmured, voice lower now. "Is that why you've been acting weird?" I swallowed. "Is what why?" He didn't answer. He just held my gaze. The silence stretched, long enough for my pulse to skyrocket, and then he smirked. "Relax," he said, stepping back. "I was just messing with you." I exhaled sharply. But was he? Because for a second, just a second, I swore I saw something in his eyes, something he wasn't saying, something that made my chest tighten. And suddenly, I wasn't sure what was real anymore. I couldn't shake the feeling that something had shifted. Even after I left the bathroom, after I changed into fresh clothes, and tried to convince myself I had imagined the way he looked at me, my body was still on high alert. My mind wouldn't shut up. The way he stood there. The way he watched me. The way he smirked like he knew something I didn't. I ran a hand through my hair, exhaling. This was insane. I needed to stop reading into things. He was my cousin. He was straight. And yet, when I stepped into the living room, there he was, shirtless, again, sprawled on the couch like he owned the place, TV remote in one hand, phone in the other. His eyes flicked to me as I walked in, a smirk already tugging at his lips. "Finally done hiding?" I scoffed, rolling my eyes as I dropped onto the opposite side of the couch. "Shut up!" He chuckled, stretching his arms behind his head, making sure I saw every inch of his toned torso. I refused to take the bait. Silence settled between us, only the sound of the TV filling the room. It should have been comfortable. It wasn't, because I could still feel his gaze on me. I forced myself to keep my eyes on the screen. But then, he spoke. "You ever wondered?" I blinked, glancing at him. "Wondered what?" He licked his lips, studying me. "What it would be like, with a guy." My stomach flipped. I gripped the cushion beneath me. "Dude, what?" "I'm just saying," he continued, voice casual, too casual. "I've thought about it." The air between us thickened. I swallowed hard. This was a test, a challenge. My throat went dry. "You're messing with me." His smirk widened. "Maybe." He turned back to the TV like he hadn't just dropped a bomb between us, but I wasn't breathing. I needed to leave. I needed to get up, walk away, forget this conversation ever happened. But then, he stretched, and his foot, bare and warm, brushed against my leg. Slow, deliberate. I should have pulled away. I didn't. His gaze flicked back to me, and this time, there was no teasing. Just silence. Waiting. Daring me to make the next move. I took a shaky breath. "What are you doing?" His lips parted slightly, his expression unreadable. "I don't know." And for the first time, I believed him, because suddenly nothing about this felt like a joke anymore. The air between us was thick, heavy. I could still feel the heat from where his foot had brushed against my leg. Neither of us moved. Neither of us spoke. I should have laughed it off. I should have said something stupid, something to break the tension. But I didn't. Because this wasn't a joke anymore. His eyes, darker than before, searched mine, like he was waiting for me to say something, do something. I swallowed hard. "You really don't know?" His jaw tensed. He hesitated. Then, so softly, I almost didn't hear it. "I think I do." My stomach flipped. Everything inside me screamed to take this for what it was. A mistake, a misunderstanding, a moment that shouldn't be happening. But then, he moved closer. Not much, just enough. Enough that I could feel his breath. Enough that my body betrayed me, leaning in slightly like it had been waiting for this. Like I had been waiting for this. His lips parted. "Tell me to stop," he murmured. I sucked in a breath. He was giving me an out. One word. That's all it would take. But my heart was hammering. My skin burned where he was close but not touching. And suddenly, I didn't want him to stop. So instead of pulling away, I closed the space between us. The second our lips met, everything exploded. His breath hitched, fingers twitching against the couch like he hadn't expected me to actually do it. Neither had I. But now there was no turning back. His hand reached out. Tentative, unsure. Until it landed on my thigh. I shivered. He must have felt it because his grip tightened, pulling me closer. The kiss deepened. Slow. Testing. Dangerous. I wasn't breathing. I wasn't thinking. I was just feeling. And when we finally pulled back, foreheads touching, breath unsteady, I knew. This summer had just changed everything. I should have pulled away. I should have said something, anything to stop this before it went too far. But I didn't, because at that moment, his lips were still on mine, hesitant but firm, unsure but wanting. And I wanted too. His hand tightened on my thigh, fingers pressing into my skin. I shuddered under his touch, and I knew he felt it. A slow exhale left his lips, brushing against mine. "This is—" he started, but didn't finish. I swallowed hard, my heart pounding so loud it drowned out everything else. I didn't dare move, didn't dare break whatever this was. But then, he did. His hand, that hand still gripping my leg, moved. Just a little. Just enough to set every nerve in my body on fire. His jaw was clenched, his breathing uneven. "I don't know what the hell I'm doing," he admitted, voice lower than I'd ever heard it. Neither did I. I wet my lips. "Then why aren't you stopping?" His eyes flickered to my mouth. A muscle in his jaw tightened. And then, like something inside him finally snapped, he kissed me again. Harder this time. Hungrier. There was no hesitation now. His grip on me tightened, pulling me closer, deeper, completely into him. I felt him shift, felt the way his body reacted, felt every single unspoken thought racing between us. I should have been freaking out. I should have questioned everything. But all I could focus on was how good he felt, how right this felt. Like this had been building for years, like we had been waiting for this moment without ever realizing it. His fingers slid up my back, his body pressing into mine. I let him. I let myself sink into it. But just when I thought this moment would never end, he stopped. He pulled away, breath unsteady, eyes wide like he had just realized exactly what he was doing. I could see the panic creeping into his expression, and then, barely above a whisper, "Shit." The warmth between us disappeared as he pushed back, running a hand over his face, his jaw tightening like he was trying to push the moment away, like he was already regretting it. My chest tightened. I didn't know what to say, but I could feel it. The shift, the weight, the unspoken fear settling between us. His breathing was still heavy, his fingers gripping his knees. And then, after what felt like an eternity, he whispered, "We can't." His voice sounded pained. I stared at him, my stomach twisting. Maybe he was right. Maybe we couldn't. But then why did it feel like we already had? He ran a hand through his hair, his chest still rising and falling fast. I could see the war in his eyes. This can't happen," he muttered. But his voice was shaky, like he didn't even believe himself. I swallowed hard. "Then why did you kiss me again?" His jaw clenched. He didn't answer, because we both knew the truth. It already had happened. The next morning, he barely looked at me. I could feel the distance, the tension hanging thick between us. It was like last night never happened, like I was the only one still thinking about it. But then, as I walked past him in the kitchen, his hand brushed mine. On purpose. That night, I heard him outside my room, pacing, like he wanted to say something but couldn't. I opened the door. "What?" He froze. Then, he kissed me. No hesitation, no doubts. Just heat. Just need. The kiss was desperate. Like he had been fighting it for too long. Like he finally gave in. His hands gripped my waist, pulled me closer. And this time, he didn't stop. Neither did I. The next morning, he was still there. Still in my bed. Still holding me. This wasn't just a mistake. This was real.